This is Richard Law, who's a member of Huddersfield Camera, and he's spent his life, at least part of it, collecting all sorts of memorabilia, including beer tokens, which he's now going to explain how he came by them and what their purpose was for.
Well, I better just correct that, because I'm not a member of Camera, but I am a member of Huddersfield Numismatic Society, and it's through knowing Bob Tomlinson, and his love of real ale and Camera that we discussed pub checks, and he decided to write an article for the Ale Talk, or
That's correct, yeah.
Yes, the magazine. I think it's obviously created a bit of interest, and the Examiner have picked up on it. Someone has read it and wanted to know more about them.
And so can you describe some of these pub checks or beer tokens that you've collected, Richard?
Yes, there were almost every village would have pubs which issued the checks, and what they were used for was when people had meetings in the pub, buffaloes and local, I forget what they call them,
Clubs.
Yeah, local societies would meet there, and I think to keep a captive audience and get them to stay after the meeting, these checks were issued, so they were only redeemable over the bar, so you couldn't finish your meeting and go down to the pub next door or down the road.
Can you just tell us a little bit about one or two of them, please?
Yes, I think so. There's one here for the, it's actually for the Climorne Gardens in Marsh, and that is
the back of the Marsh House.
That's
pub,
at the back of the Marsh
now
House.
Defunct.
Correct. And it had a beer garden, so this was for a value of twopence, and it would allow you into the beer garden. It was an entry to go and have your pint in the garden on a nice sunny day.
And what about some of the other ones that you've collected? Can you give us a bit of detail about those?
Possibly, yes. There's an interesting one here for John Parker, Bellevue Hotel, Fartown, Huddersfield. That is a value of twopence. And the Bellevue Gardens at Fartown were also had a garden, and that was called Aspinall's Bellevue Gardens, which had all sorts of swings and not very clear, I don't think that, but you know, there were entertainments at the garden. They had at one time a balloonist descended, I think went up to 1,000 foot and then descended, and you know, so you were entertained as well.
And what about the one at Berry Brow, perhaps, the railway hotel?
The small one, yes, that's I don't know whether it's still in go. Railway hotel, I think it probably is, and that's for a 3 Hames.
Yeah.
Same idea, it would be used for meetings and redeemable over the bar for your pint.
Yeah. And how did you come by these, Richard?
I've been collecting them for probably 50 or 60 years, and I've only got sort of 15 or 20, if that. So they don't come easily, but you find them in scrap boxes, and I get them from London dealers, coin fairs, but they're very, very scarce. So they're not worth a lot, but they're hard to come by.
And if anybody was interested in, who may have some of these tucked away in an old drawer or cupboard somewhere in their home, are you interested in them getting in touch with you?
Oh, yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, they're quite sought after. But they're all brass, so intrinsically they're not particularly valuable. But on a scarcity basis, they are desirable.
Yeah. And of course, men often joke about having beer shekels or beer tokens, but at one time in the late 19th century, they were very well used, weren't they?
Very much so, and they were particularly between, I would say, the 1870s and perhaps 90 and before the First World War. So that's covered a period of 40 years. And
how did they die out? What factors do you think encouraged their demise?
I've honestly no idea. I'm sorry, but I don't. I've never thought about that.